We were promised flying cars, but got Diet Tab instead.
Yep, we grew up on Tang, TV dinners, and Cold War paranoia. And somehow, we're still standing.
Well, this is Jim. He used to tune up a V8 engine with one hand while holding a Slurpee in the other.
And this is Tab. She survived junior high armed only with a Dr. Pepper lip smacker and an attitude.
And together, we're Unretired AF. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Unretired AF podcast, the podcast especially created for the over 60 rebellious crowd. And today we're going to be talking about a generation that goes in between the boomers and Gen X. But before we go there, we want to give a shout out to our subscribers. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you.
If this is your first time viewing our channel, thank you so much for being here. And if you are a returning viewer and you've come back, thanks so much for coming back. And we would ask you to please consider hitting that subscribe button. All right. Before we go full nostalgia, let's clear up what this generation is even called. It's called Generation Jones and what it means, because odds are nobody's ever explained it to you. All right, so Generation Jones is a generation of people who were born between 1954 and 1965. So really, it's what they call the trailing boomers, and people already know that the trailing boomers are different than the rest of the baby boomers.
Sure.
And it's true.
Yeah. And
Jim and I happen to fit into that category. And so they've come up with a name and they call it Generation Jones. And basically, it's people who were too young for Woodstock, which we were. I mean, I was 6 when Woodstock came out. You were 9.
9, right.
And we're too old for Nirvana. And that's true. I remember when all that, the music from the Pacific Northwest came out and all the grunge music. And I was already like a mom and doing stuff.
Right.
I was too old for that. So the term, people ask, well, where did that come from? Generation Jones, what does that mean? Well, it's not really a name. It's really more about the term. You've probably heard about it. People are jonesing for something, usually for something bad like alcohol or a cigarette.
Right.
But this is about jonesing for really the American dream that was promised to us and really just fell short for our generation. Right.
Absolutely. So we were kind of sandwiched between the boomers and the Gen Xers.
Yeah.
We were raised on Cold War dread and Jello molds.
That's the truth. Did your mom do Jello molds?
Oh God,
yeah. They were disgusting with grated carrots in it.
Yeah. Well, her special was the lime and crushed pineapple.
Oh.
She just thought that was all that in a bag of chips. Man. With us, me personally, and I know Tab feels the same way, we never felt part of either tribe.
Right. No, that's exactly right. We always, especially when, as we're getting older and people are bitching about the boomers constantly, we're just like, what the hell?
We didn't do shit.
Well, and we don't have all the stuff. They're saying,
right.
The boomers own everything. And it's like, that's not our generation.
Yeah.
And it's not the people in our age range, which are, quote, the Generation Jones,
right.
People. But, so now that we know who we are, let's figure out where the hell we actually do fit in, because no one wants to claim us. We're going to briefly interrupt your program to tell you about something that we think you'll like. Jim and I have been using Stir Water Enhancer for about 2 years now. And what we really like about it is it's stevia sweetened, doesn't have any artificial sweeteners in it, and it also has natural flavors and no artificial dyes.
So here's a deal for you. Go to stirrdrinks.com/unretiredaf15 to save 15% off your next order.
And now, back to our show. Well, the thing about this generation that they call Generation Jones is that we can identify with certain things from the boomers, but also certain things from the Gen Xers. Like, for instance, we remember the world before technology.
Absolutely.
We had landlines, party lines. I had a party line. Did you have a party line?
Yeah. The rotary phone.
The rotary phone. I mean, and we also had the first home computers. I mean, we remember when, people started getting that, or I remember.
But even bigger than that.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
Just say.
Starting of the microwave.
Oh, no. I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say Pong. I remember when I was in 7th grade, we got a Pong game, and we were transfixed to the TV watching one little bar and a dot. Doink, doink, doink. You remember that?
Yeah, I did.
And we just thought we had arrived.
I think that's when we got our first microwave. I think that's when my father considered me to be needed to go to military school because my mother loved popcorn.
Uh-huh.
So I just grabbed the old Jiffy Pop and put it in the microwave. It was the 4th of July in probably January and blew the magnetron move, the tube that my father hated me. I mean, he wanted to use me for target practice before he went to Vietnam.
Well, because they were expensive back then.
It was like $500.
No, more than that. My parents, when they got their first microwave, it was $1,000.
Well, that was through the PX.
Oh, okay. So maybe you did get it. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
My mom had her first microwave, and she set it on the counter. It was the size of a Cooper Mini. It was like huge, and it came with like a little stack of credit card looking things that had recipes on it, and she would just stick it in there.
Yep.
I don't know that she ever made any of those things. I think she just made it to heat up leftovers. But even then, like my mom had this concept that the microwave was like some food preservation system from outer space. And she would, I would come home late from work if I was working in high school. And after high school, this would have been probably in my 20s. I moved home for a short time in my 20s. I would come home from work and she would say, "Oh, there's leftovers for you in the microwave, some pork chops." I go and there they are on a paper towel, on a Corelle plate, on a paper towel. There's like 3 pork chops. There's no refrigeration going on in there.
Wow.
There's nothing going on in there. But in her mind, putting them inside the microwave somehow preserved them for us.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I can't even tell you how many Barks root beer bottles I collected on the side of the road to buy my parents another microwave.
Did you?
Oh, I did. I did. I felt.
Well, you were a good son.
I felt terrible about it.
Well, and we were also the generation that played outside till dark.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we really were, we'd have to come home when the streetlights come on. That was, and sometimes we didn't even do that. And nobody even realized that we weren't there. I don't think anybody even cared.
Yeah.
But, we know that the boomer generation did that too, but we were also the generation that when our parents got those first VCRs in the 80s, we knew how to, program. Remember they had like 1,000 buttons on the back and and they were all like twisty turning. And then it had lots of wires and cables. And it had something that came out like that. And it had 2 little things and you have to stick it on the TV and screw that into. And so not only did we play outside all the time, but we knew how to work our parents' technology shit that they started buying in the 80s, which the boomers did not know about that. So that is another differentiation of this Generation Jones. And another thing that was prevalent with us, we had to earn everything. We did not get any participation trophies just for showing up.
Oh, hell no. If you lost, you got laughed at and kicked and told to come back when you could play better.
I mean, we just sucked it up.
We sucked it up and we tried to get on a winning team.
Right.
Oh, the boomer media has blamed us for slacking. They call us slackers.
Right.
That's bullshit.
When was that? I mean, my dad kicked me out when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
When was that we were slacking?
Yeah, exactly. Gen X mocks us for being caring.
Right.
The truth, We were really all too busy just to even notice any of their bullshit.
Right. Right. Well, and I think that the Gen X, who I love too. I mean, we love boomers and Gen X. We're not dogging on anybody. We're just talking about the differences.
Right.
I think the Gen Xers are very cynical.
Yeah.
And they don't like that we have a heart.
Right.
And we do have a heart. Yeah. But we're not naive like the boomers.
Right.
I mean, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not getting scammed by what is it? Your auto warranty and other kind of. We're not getting scammed by that.
Right.
So.
Right.
Putting the labels aside, because, none of us, I don't think, fits exactly into each of the, the generational labels. But, so putting all those things aside, it's all the wonderful things that we remember together that holds us together. Well, one of the things that ties us together is we were really the first generation of latchkey kids. And that was for two reasons that we were latchkey kids. One reason is during our generation, a lot of moms went to work, joined the workforce. So there wasn't anybody home after school. So people in our generation, became latchkey kids. But also our generation saw the sort of divorce becoming more mainstream. And so a lot of us were living, I know I was, living in a single parent home. My mom and dad got divorced when I was really young. I know yours stayed together.
But mine was gone in Vietnam for years.
Right. But your mom, did she work?
Not when he was in Vietnam. She worked later in life.
Okay. So you weren't really a latchkey kid, but your mom was.
I was never there.
Gotcha. All right. So, I mean, for the latchkey kids, for those of us who were latchkey kids, I mean, TV raised us. I mean, thanks, Gilligan. I mean, I remember like summer vacation, both of my parents were working and I was home with my sister, starting young. And, we watched all the stuff that came on in the daytime, which would have been like Gilligan's Island, Beverly Hillbillies, Gong Show. I remember,
Get Smart.
Right. I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched.
Bonanza.
I Love Lucy.
Yep.
So TV raised us in a way that is maybe unique to other generations. I mean, our parents weren't really the heaviest influence for us. Right. It was TV. We were really the TV generation. And another thing that happened for our generation is that we babysat our siblings alone at a very young age. It wasn't unusual to have 10-year-olds watching younger siblings. I know I was. I was in charge of my sister when I was 10 and she was 7. We drove before we were 16. I was driving because we lived in the country. I was driving at 14 or 15. And, we moved out, many of us, by the time we were 18. I mean, I remember my dad and I had a big fight. And he told me, if you're going to act like that, get out. And I was stubborn enough that I did. And I moved out at 17. So that we weren't scared of that.
No.
We weren't scared of being on our own because we were already used to it. I mean, in some ways, I can remember this, and this is true. I was really annoyed with my parents a lot of the time when I was a teenager because they were like the silent generation. And, they annoyed me a lot. I remember being annoyed with them. Maybe that's just a teenage thing. I don't know. But, we learned about nutrition from cereal boxes. We weren't getting taught that. I mean, we had feathered hair or the Dorothy Hamill hair. That's what I remember. We were taping songs off the radio. Do you remember the Top 40, Casey Kasem?
Oh, yeah.
I would have my tape recorder set up next to the radio. And then we got big time where the radio had a tape recorder in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, when your favorite song comes on that you're trying to record and you're hoping that the DJ will shut up and not talk over the whole beginning part of it.
Yeah.
And then some of you ladies will probably remember this, laying out in the sun in the summer with covered in baby oil and sun in our hair, which was supposed to turn it blonde, but really just turned it yellow or orange.
So when you were coming up when we did, what did you do when you were thirsty? Did you go knock on the door and ask if you could have a glass of water? Hell no.
No, they didn't want us in the house.
No, they didn't want you in the house.
We're allowed in.
So what did you do? You went and drank out of the hose.
Yeah.
You always tried to find a green or a white hose, though, because the black one, the water just got too damn hot, man. So Saturday morning was for what? Sacred cartoons. I mean, that was like...
There was no cartoon channel. There was Saturday morning cartoons. That was it.
That's it. We got our news from Walter Cronkite. Not Twitter or not any computer, because there wasn't any. On the radio, that guy, Paul Harvey.
Right. We loved him.
Yeah.
He had common sense.
So that's where we got our news from.
Right.
We would, like, for me, I was such a baseball nut. Me and my buddy would, like, lay on the floor with the transistor radio and listen to the baseball games or football games or basketball. Whenever it was. We didn't have any hockey where I grew up, because it wasn't cold enough. But, we all learned at a very, very young age how to jump a car with a set of jumper cables, how to change a tire.
Right.
I think I was driving like at 13.
Probably.
But in a small town, nobody cared.
Right.
I mean, I had my own boat at 10, and the only thing we had to worry about then was, I can remember for 6 gallons of gasoline, if I had $2, I had enough for a few bottles of Barks root beer and to fill my 6-gallon tank up to go to the islands for the weekend. And, we had those long matches.
What were those for?
To start a fire so we could cook dinner.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, we had to have some way to start a fire.
Gotcha.
So we had those at that time was, I think that's like when the first Ziploc bags came out.
Gotcha.
Because we'd put those, and I think I had that and like a $1 bill in case I needed emergency money. Which
$1 could buy a lot back then.
Everywhere we went, there was nothing to buy.
Right.
But,
right.
We all had toolboxes before any of us had bank accounts.
Right.
My first bank account was actually a savings account.
Was it?
And they would write it down how much you put in there.
Well, I remember those. The little savings book, the little passbook.
Yeah.
I was 14 when I had my first checking account.
Wow.
I remember babysitting, and I would go and take like the 3 little brats. I babysat 3 brats. I'm sorry, they were brats. And but I would take them and to get ice cream at the little corner store, and I would write a check for like $1.14. Is that ridiculous? Sometimes even under $1. I'd write a check. I was so big time. Ridiculous. Well, and if anyone's wondering if our Generation Jones, still counts, well, buckle up, because we're not just relevant, we're critical. Well, our generation was known for adapting. I mean, we had a lot of changes that we saw in our generation, and we adapted again and again. We went through recessions. We went through tech booms. We went through MTV. We're the MTV generation. I mean, we can do multiple things. Like, we can rock a spreadsheet. Yep. And we can fix something, we can fix something that's broken, leaky sink, whatever. I mean, we really have a hand in both generations in the sense that, well, not necessarily generations, but pre and post technology.
Yeah.
We had a hand in each of those. And, we're not aging out. We're not, we're just done playing nice.
Right. We're kind of the bridge between analog and digital. Yeah, some of us are still working.
Right.
Some of us have to. Some of us want to. We're still parenting. We're also grandparenting. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us, unfortunately, are probably caregiving as well.
Right.
And yeah, you know what else, though? We can all read a damn map. Remember those Thomas guidebooks? If you didn't know how to read that and know what grid you were in, you couldn't go anywhere.
Oh my God! Did you guys ever go on family vacations and your one of them, your mom or your dad, had the big map, the Rand McNally.
Oh, yeah.
Rand McNally, that's a kind that
Yeah.
folds
No,
up.
yep.
And it opens up, and it's like the whole front seat is engulfed with
Right.
the map.
What grid are we in, dear? What grid are we in? Oh, yeah.
But we managed to always get where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah. And then remember when you were on the freeway and you were looking for that fluorescent multicolor Holiday Inn deal?
Because they had a pool.
They had the pool.
They had a pool. We had to go.
They
there.
had the pool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Generation Jones may have been overlooked, but our generation is the glue that held the decades together, coming between the boomers and the Gen X.
Yep. And we're not the boomers. We're not the Gen X. We're the last great mixtape generation. And yeah, we've still got it. So we have a comment section. If you think you've still got it, if you're part of our Jones clan and in those years, drop us a comment. We love everybody, malice toward none, humor to everybody. And we'd love to hear your comments. If you have something that you'd like us to talk about, some other topic, please let us know, and we'll certainly look into it. Thank you.
Yep. And if our content resonates with you and you're enjoying seeing us in your feed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Well, we're not slowing down.
And neither should you. And together,
we're Unretired AF.